Hello and welcome to Lynchburg Live. I'm your host, Linda Smith. The Natural Bridge area is a beautiful tourist attraction, and the bridge itself is a natural wonder of nature. We are really fortunate in this area to have Natural Bridge practically in our own backyard. Recently, the bridge and the resort have undergone several transitions, and my guest tonight is Paul Cooper. Paul is the acting general manager of Natural Bridge, who will be telling us about the bridge and the general attractions as they are today. Paul, welcome to Lynchburg Live.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks for having me.
You know, as we get started, can you just tell our audience how long you've been with Natural Bridge and what's involved with your job? I know it's a huge job.
Yeah, thanks. It is. We've been involved since February. New ownership came in, and I joined them early February, and purchased the hotel, and it was closed, and we got it up and running and opened it up on March 14th.
That's wonderful. Yeah. All right, I know that everybody probably in our area knows where Natural Bridge is located, but we've recently started reaching into North Carolina and West Virginia. Okay. So for people who don't know where it's located, could you sort of give them an idea?
Sure. It's located in Rockbridge County. It's right off of Interstate 81, about 2 miles off of Interstate 81 along Route 11. So it's about 15 minutes from Lexington and about 30 minutes from Roanoke, so between Lexington and Roanoke off of Interstate 81.
And from here, it's a really pretty drive, I think.
It's gorgeous. I mean, the fall foliage is just phenomenal, yeah.
You know, as well as I can remember, in the very, very early years, wasn't Natural Bridge one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, or it was listed on some list as that?
Yeah, and it's categorized right now as one of the 7 natural wonders of the New World.
It is?
Yes, yeah, so it still is. So,
that's great.
Yeah, Yosemite, Yellowstone, Niagara Falls, Natural Bridge, all part of the 7 natural wonders of the New World.
And it's also listed as a national historic landmark.
Historic landmark, correct. Yeah, I believe it was 1998 it was designated as a National Historic Landmark, and that ties back to Thomas Jefferson owning it in 1774. And
now, was he the first owner?
First owner from the United States, yeah.
Cool. All right. Now, I also understand that George Washington sort of went through there and carved his initials. He was surveying or something.
Yeah, it's undocumented. It's more or less myth. We can't prove it, but we can prove that George Washington was in the area during that period of time, and his initials are carved about 23.5 feet up on the Natural Bridge, and so folks can see the GW initials in the bridge.
I was going to ask you if that was still there. I just think that's so cool. Yeah. Now, even before George visited the bridge, I understand it had a tie-in with the Monacan Indians, and even today, some of their folklore is tied into the bridge.
Yeah, so pre-Jamestown, well before Jamestown, the Monacan Indian Nation had inhabited the lands, and what we've done with the property is we have a Monacan Indian exhibit. So it's a village that's shown, and so we have one of the largest longhouses there, actually the largest longhouse in the state of Virginia, and they're covered in natural bark and cattails, and there's some different neat interpretive displays. One of our folks that work with us, one of my colleagues, a brilliant lady, Vicki Ferguson, she heads up the Monacan Indian exhibit, and so she has a staff of interpreters. So they'll take folks through, do a lot of school groups. We have over 12,000 school-age children who have visited or will visit Natural Bridge this year, and so she leads her, and her staff lead a interpretive exhibit to take children through and educate them on the Monacan Nation.
Are the people who are in that exhibit, are they Monacan Indians?
Yeah, Vicki Ferguson is a Monacan Indian, a descendant of the Monacan Nation. So yeah.
All right. Now the Monacan Indians, they still hold a fall festival at the bridge. Is that true? Or
they did this year. We had hundreds of folks from the Monacan Indian tribe had a powwow there, a fall festival, if you will, and some great dancing and music and arts and crafts, and just a tremendous community event.
Is that part of the living history exhibit, or is that something entirely different?
You know, Linda, it used to be down by the Monacan Indian exhibit, but it grew so large that we had it on behind our cottages and on about a 5-acre parcel of land. So we opened it up to the community a little bit more.
You know, when I was a school child in the 6th grade and we took our school trip to Natural Bridge, none of this stuff was there.
Yeah.
And I think it's such an educational opportunity for kids, you know, to really see how the Indians lived, and especially in that environment.
Yeah, and that's one of the chief tenets of what we're trying to accomplish in the repositioning and rebranding of Natural Bridge. We're following a mission of education, outdoor recreation, and conservation. And when it comes to education, we entered the property and said we're gonna make a true effort to educate as many K through 12 Virginia children as we possibly can. So we got with the Board of Education, rewrote some of the curriculum so that when children come, we're SOL compliant, Standards of Learning compliant, and we hope to have 15,000 at least next year of school-age children.
That's great. Yeah. All right, now what is the drama of creation?
So that goes back to the book of Genesis, and it's the seven days of creation. And so it's been a presentation that's done every night. President Calvin Coolidge actually flipped the switch in 1927 for the first drama of creation. And so it's about a 35-minute presentation that folks can see every evening.
Does that take place at the bridge, right at the bridge?
Yeah, so it's a light show and an audio presentation. We have space for several hundred people, and they could sit on the benches and enjoy the drama of creation presentation. It's also a place where we do stuff like the sunrise service for Easter Sunday.
I didn't know you did that. That's great too. What a wonderful backdrop for that. All right, with the drama of creation, is that available all year round, or is it a seasonal presentation?
It's
weather dependent?
Yeah, weather dependent. When we start getting to from November, December, January, February, weekends primarily we run to, and then when it's inclement weather, we don't. We would cancel the show because of ice buildup on the bridge and just hazards.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. All right, do you know actually how this bridge was formed?
Yeah, so it was a series of caverns, of caves.
Didn't know that.
Water eroded and left the arch standing, the natural bridge. So millions of years of erosion, and it's there for us now.
That's really interesting. I always thought maybe the river was way up really high at the time and just cut it through there. But
it was, yeah. So it was a series of caverns and caves. The water was really high and it cut through and eroded.
That's just, I think it's fascinating. And I've always wondered, can you actually walk on the top of the bridge? What's up there?
Well, that's actually above the bridge is Route 11, so it's an active roadway.
Didn't know that.
You can walk, but it's primarily a north-south corridor, Route 11, which was the primary north-south corridor before Interstate 81 was built.
That's great. I've often thought maybe I could walk up there, but probably not. Probably not now. All right, I know that the bridge and the associated attractions have been through transition recently as far as ownership. Can you tell us who the owners are and what their plans are?
Sure. It's a nonprofit organization based out of Roanoke. The company is called Virginia Conservation Legacy Fund, and they purchased the property in early February. Like I said, we opened the property in March, and it's a 1,600-acre campus. So part of the reason behind Virginia Conservation Legacy Fund purchasing the property was purely a conservation effort. It's an effort to preserve the land for generations, and 1,531 acres of the 1,600 have been put in a conservation easement. And what that means is it's going to be untouched land. And when VCLF, Virginia Conservation Legacy Fund, pays off the acquisition amount, $9.1 million, it actually will transfer to the state of Virginia, become a state park.
That's great. I mean, it should be, I think. I mean, these people who are the owners now certainly have the right idea and are headed in the right direction with this this piece of history.
Yeah, and it's a great effort. It's one of those situations where, you have 1,600 acres, you have all these, a well-known brand in Natural Bridge, and the opportunity to really transform. So that's really what we're doing right now. We're transforming the campus, we're rebranding it, repositioning it. There's a 10-year strategic master site plan, and we're executing already. We've spent well over $1 million in just aesthetic improvements, infrastructural improvements, and what's to come is so exciting. It's just sky's the limit out there.
I mean, just hearing you talk about it makes me really interested in going back up there. My husband and I had driven by there within the last 6 months, and I just wondered what was going on in there. So I'm really glad to have you here. Now, as far as major changes to the attraction as a whole, and renovations and that kind of thing, what has been taking place since it's under this new ownership?
So a lot of what we're doing with the attractions is that we're actually right now in a period of subtraction. The Wax Museum that had been on property for I believe over 30 years is no longer. And
no.
what we're doing with that is pretty exciting, because it really fits into our mission of education, and we're transforming that building into a children and nature center.
That's
so
great.
that families can come and experience everything from learning about forestry to watersheds to the geology of the land, and so that's on the horizon. We have the Rockbridge Center, which is the gift shop, and right now it's still a gift shop. We have a cafeteria, archway, deli in there, and we have some great retail items in there, and it's the main entrance to the bridge. But that's slowly being transitioned into an artisans gallery. So right now we're working with some really, really talented local and regional and statewide artisans, and they're bringing in their paintings, their sculptures, the blacksmiths, the whole experience of really becoming a pure Virginia destination.
That's great.
And so that's undergoing some change right now. We have the caverns at Natural Bridge. We're making some infrastructural improvements to that to improve the overall guest experience. And then at the hotel, I mean, that's really where a lot of our focus is right now. We've just in the last 3 weeks opened up a new model room that guests can come and see, and we'll experience what it is that the room renovation projects will look like. And we took one of our ballrooms, the Washington Hall ballroom, and that's been completely remodeled. We did that in about 5 weeks.
It just sounds like that the new people are interested in expanding it to maintain interest of a larger group of people, a larger group of interest.
No, that's a great point, and that what we want to become is a solid 3-star family destination resort. The bread and butter are families. We want families from the area, from the region, to come stay for a night, stay for a weekend. But it's marketing it to a greater demographic. So in the past,
right.
It's in the wintertime it's more snowbirds, so a lot of baby boomers are coming down. In the summer, it's families of 4 and 5, and we're trying to touch on a multitude of different travelers. So we're trying to create an experience where people will stay for a couple nights, and they'll not only stay at our property, but they'll come to Lynchburg and experience everything that Lynchburg has to offer. They'll experience Roanoke and certainly downtown Lexington, the entire area. They'll visit the wineries, and so it's about marketing to the entire area.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. All right. You've brought some pictures, and Phil, if you'll put those pictures up, we'll get Paul to tell us what they are. That's the classic scene.
That's the classic. That's one of those iconic visuals that you'll see as you're walking down Cedar Creek, and that's right on our property, across from the hotel, I should say. But it's one of the first things that you see when you come down the 137 steps, or you take the bus down.
Bus.
But you do walk along that trail, and there's Natural Bridge. So that's Lace Falls. That's actually at the end of Cedar Creek Trail. It's just one of those beautiful natural wonders there on property, and it's the Lace Falls are dumping right there, right into Cedar Creek. So it's right at the terminus point of the trail, and it's just a beautiful area to be.
That's another gorgeous
yeah,
picture.
more of an aerial visual of Natural Bridge there. That will show you the drama of creation. So when we were talking about earlier, the lights, you know, that's an example of some of the illumination of the bridge at night, and you know, just a great. We got the full moon in there as well.
I was going to say, what a wonderful shot to have caught that moon like it is.
Again, drama of creation. Yeah.
This looks like early spring.
It does, yeah, exactly. Early spring at the bridge, and you know, spring, summer, fall, just beautiful. Even when we took over the property in February, when you know, it was snow covered, another, you know, beautiful experience there. That's actually leading over. It's also part of Cedar Creek. There's some caverns back there as well that folks who are walking on the trail can see. Washington Ballroom, that's our first example of a renovated space. We're so pleased. It's actually probably the premier banquet space in about a 30-mile radius, and we can seat about 125 folks there. We've had several events. We renovated, like I said, in about 5 weeks in advance of Governor McAuliffe coming to the property in May. We've had weddings hosted in there. It's a phenomenal wedding venue. And everything we did with Washington Hall, from we added new ceilings, new light fixtures, new carpeting, new walls, new crown molding, new HVAC, wiring, audio visual. We have a state-of-the-art audio visual experience there, and it's just really a phenomenal space.
It's beautiful. Now, is this part of the Grand Old Lady? Is that what they call the hotel?
Well, some people refer to the Grand Old Lady as the bridge itself, and, and some refer to it as the hotel.
I didn't know if it was the hotel or the bridge.
Yeah. Colonial Dining Room. It's one of 4 food and beverage outlets that we have on property. It's the main dining area. We have a couple of hundred seats in there. It's breakfast and dinner. It's really a great space for family dinners. We do a Friday night seafood buffet, which is it's well known. We actually get a lot of folks from Lynchburg that come up on Friday nights, and we do a Sunday lunch buffet there, and so we do. It's mainly Southern cuisine. We just revamped the menu, and we're including a lot of local Virginia products, a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits, and working with local growers around the area.
And this is open year-round too?
Open year-round, yes, yeah. Yep. It's a picture of the renovation of Washington Hall in progress. And it was interesting when we took over the property in February. It was closed. The seller of the hotel, Mr. Puglisi, had closed the hotel, and we had a really cold winter, as you remember. And unfortunately, there was a water main break in the ceiling, and Washington Hall was flooded. So when we walked on the property, it was in really bad shape. And so what you're seeing there are some of the workers subcontractors that are working for us. And it's really interesting to note, and such a large amount of activity on campus all spring and summer and fall. We had over 150 employees of Natural Bridge. That didn't even come close to counting the many contractors, subcontractors, consultants. We had hundreds of hours, almost 600 hours of volunteer work on the property, and just a great opportunity for folks to come out there and get involved.
I think that shows the dedication of the people, the new owners, you know, trying to bring it back to what it was and to expand it in different ways.
Yeah,
very positive ways.
In very positive way. It's just a tremendous undertaking. There's been years and years of you know, deferred maintenance, and we're providing a lot of attention to the facility, and really making it more accessible and a more enjoyable experience for our guests.
That's beautiful.
The main hotel actually just turned 50 years old this year, so a historic hotel. It's one of those, you know, breathtaking shots when you drive up, and we're getting ready to decorate it for the Christmas season, and we're looking forward to our first holiday season at Natural Bridge. Weddings. What a great backdrop. Now it's all about experiential weddings and destination weddings, and what better place to, you're not having to go to the Caribbean, you're not having to go to, the Grand Canyon. You could have a wedding, and we do plenty of weddings just right there underneath the bridge. And so you have that historic landmark as a backdrop, and you have plenty of seats around there, and we could do, any size catered function with a multitude of menus. So it's really been it's a blessing in many ways, but for folks to come out and get married and have that picture is really neat.
So the hotel is really ready for people to...
Yeah, we're ready. We've been fully operational since the middle of March. Our occupancy is up 20% over last year. We'll be open year round. We're not closing. We've got a staff there, a lot of dedicated folks that we work with. So yeah, we're there.
Here's another wedding.
Another one. That was one of the first wedding brochures that was actually produced, and just more of a casual experience. You see the groom there in some green Converse sneakers. And,
I didn't notice the sneakers.
And his bride there, and just a happy experience, it looks like, for those
That's
guys.
great.
We weren't there when this was taken, but yeah, just a neat casual experience. Monacan Indian exhibit. That's two of our interpreters there, and folks can come down and visit and learn about the history of the Monacan Indian tribe and what it was like to live on the property, on a Monacan Indian tribe. Vicki Ferguson, as I mentioned earlier, Vicki she runs the Monacan Indian exhibit for us, and a descendant of the Monacan Indian tribe. The longest longhouse in the state of Virginia. That's looks like wrapped in bark. Actually, Vicki and her staff went tree to tree, and they recreated, and they took the bark off the trees to cover Natural Bridge. And then now, if you come by and see us this weekend, it's covered in cattails, so it's
how wonderful.
It's winterized, but it's the longest longhouse built by hand in the state of Virginia.
That's great.
Again, our focus is on educating children, and that's a recent picture of some young kids that came to the property, and it's really it gets us excited when they come, because they're just they're bright-eyed. They want to learn. We want them to come back. So the curriculum is always advancing. So if we have children who are in second or third grade, we want to provide them with an educational experience when they get to fourth grade and fifth grade and sixth grade, so we continually to advance the educational program there.
So Paul, tell me what's coming up for the bridge and its attractions in the future. What can we look forward to?
Well, we're looking at an entire room renovation project right now. That'll start in January. We'll keep the hotel open, and so it'll go through probably April or May. So we're really excited about that. We have a tremendous amount of festivals and activities, special events. Thanksgiving coming up, Thanksgiving buffet. Oh, actually, let me back up. Halloween. We have trunk or treat in the Rockbridge Center parking lot, so we'll do decorations and provide candy for the community children, and then we'll roll into Thanksgiving. We'll have a great buffet. We've already had a couple hundred reservations, so and then we'll the holiday season. We'll have, gosh, everything from Sunday lunch with Santa. People can bring their children out and have a picture with Santa. We have the Lexington carriage out there, so they can take a 15-minute ride. They could do a market. There's a holiday market, so people can come and buy gifts for their family members. And so just a lot of stuff. We have, I forgot, November 15th, we have our first annual Race to Rockbridge. It's a 5K run, so that'll really be neat. And we're just looking to build the momentum as we go into next year.
And to have something going on all the time, especially through the holidays. I think that's really good.
Yeah, it's key. It's key. We want people to come out and experience it and keep them engaged in the property. So we've got a lot of great, the restaurants will be open, a lot of great specials, and we have Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings we have coffee with the ranger. We have a chief naturalist on property, so they can come and learn about leaves and forestry and everything, and Gretchen will lead them around and do hikes, and we have over 4 miles of trails right now, so people can come out in the fall foliage and go biking and hiking. There's just so much to do out there. We're really excited about it.
Your enthusiasm makes me want to go up there right now and have a meal, if nothing else. We've only got about a minute, but I do want to thank you for coming and telling us what's going on up there now. I think people need to know that that it really is expanding, and it's going to be brought back to what it was, and even more so.
Yeah, and we're part of the community. We want to engage the folks here in Lynchburg, all around the area, to come out, and yeah.
Great. Thank you again.
Thank you, Linda.
I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show, and it's made me want to take a trip right now to Natural Bridge, so we'll see you there. My next show will feature the Ark of Central Virginia and a tuna Christmas. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.